Good evening, all of you. I hope I'm audible and visible. If there's any issue, please let me know in the chat box. Okay. All right. So also I've disabled the unmute button. So please use the chat instead if you have any question. I will enable the unmute option at the end of the session for discussion. So I think with this, we can start with the session now. All right, so welcome to the JudiSure session on Rajasthan Judicial Services Strategy by Ms. Chhavi Goyal. So before proceeding with the session, for those who are new here and those who do not know much about JudiSure, I will first briefly introduce JudiSure to those people. So JudiSure is an initiative of a group of young judges, some well-known practicing advocates and academicians under the guidance of Professor Faizan Mustafa sir. It is an exclusive guidance program, which is not like any traditional or commercial coaching institute. We offer a 6 months comprehensive course for students. You can check out more details related to the course on our website, judisure.com. So our next batch is starting from 1st January 2025 with a limited intake of only 60 students on first come, first serve basis. Ms. Chhavi Goyal, who is the guest of this session, she was a part of those 60 students from our previous batch. So first, many congratulations, Chhavi, for securing rank 23 in Rajasthan Judicial Services. Chhavi belongs to a town in Haryana. She completed her LLB in the year 2020 and she completed her LLM in the year 2021 from HPNLU Shimla. She belongs to a family of lawyers and she started her practice in Gurgaon District and Sessions Court. She took a leave from her practice to appear in Rajasthan Judiciary exam this year, and she secured rank 23 in this exam. Chhavi, I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm audible to you. Chhavi, am I audible to you?
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Chhavi. Okay. So, Chhavi, can you please share with the participants here how and when did you start preparing for judicial services?
Ma'am, actually, I post graduated in 2021 and thereafter I started preparing for the judicial services examination. And it has been like 2 to 3 years since I was preparing for the examinations. I did give it an attempt earlier also, but I was not able to qualify the mains examination. So this time I guess I was lucky to qualify all the 3 stages of the examination.
All right, Chhavi. Next, we would like to know, since you were a practicing advocate before
Yes.
you attempted this exam, so how did you manage your preparation along with your practice? And do you think in any way your practice helped you in clearing this exam? And on the same note, what would you suggest to those who are practicing advocates and are targeting the next RJS notification?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, in my view, the bar and bench goes very well together. And ma'am, when I was practicing, I had the leverage, I had the comfort of practicing from my home. So I had the time and I had the liberty to, study alongside the practice also. And if I would like to suggest, I would suggest that practice really helped me a lot in cracking my exam because practice kept me going with all the recent legal all the recent legal developments also, and practice really helped me in drafting, and that drafting helps in drafting your answers. And the practice, and ma'am, in if I have to say, the practicing in courts give you that confidence that you will need in the interview stage. And I would very much like to suggest my fellow friends who are practicing in the courts that they should keep practicing and side by side studying for their examinations also. It might get a little tricky at times, but it's all about managing the time schedule and the time frame, and you can give simultaneously both the things a bit of your time from the day. And I think practice really helped me a lot.
Okay, Chavi, that's a great insight. So, at times, we know it gets tough to stay motivated and consistent at the same time.
Ma'am,
So how did you manage to keep going?
Ma'am, it is indeed true that at times it gets very hard to just keep getting motivation for studying, because, as I have said earlier, I have also faced a failure. But, ma'am, I think consistency is the key here. Even if you're not studying, you are not motivated enough to just go well through the studies, you can always be disciplined. I mean, I have made my time schedule, like I did not have any strict time schedule that I have to study for this long and this much hours in a day. I would just keep myself confined to some of the topics that I have to study in a certain frame of time period, and I would study those only. And, ma'am, whenever I lack motivation, I really started reading the recent legal developments around me. I started reading some books that I kept to myself for the motivation. And I think, and whenever you feel like you're lacking the motivation, you have to just set your eyes clearly on your goal, and envision what you want to do in your life, and the life that you will get if you clear the exam.
Okay, that's great. So, apart from all this, it's a common confusion in aspirants whether to have a different strategy for all the stages of exam or whether to go with a single strategy for prelims as well as mains. So, what was your strategy to go about it?
Ma'am, actually, when I started preparing, I made my own notes, my handwritten notes. I read from the various commentaries and textbooks also, and I've gone through the lyrics really well. And then once I made my own notes, I'll start studying for the preliminary exam whenever the notification would come out, because uh, matlab, I have studied well for both of the examination, but whenever the notification would come, as everyone knows, that preliminary exams are widely based upon the WARE Act and the recent legal developments. So whenever the notification would come and a date would come that a preliminary exam would be by this date, then I'll just confine myself to the WARE Acts and my notes and the recent legal developments, and I would very often practice the mock sessions, the mock examinations. I have taken I have taken a number of mock tests from the JudiSure also. And, ma'am, if I clear the ma'am, I mean, the preliminary exam is an objective kind of a paper. So after attempting that exam, if you're gonna crack that or not. And if I'm confident enough that I'm going to crack that, I'll start preparing for the mains examination. And I think the key to succeed in mains examination is just the answer writing. Your answer writing must be very good. It must be very nice. It should be inclusive of all the legal developments, recent legal developments, the historical aspect of that particular topic, the how that particular legal doctrine or that legal thing has been taken up by the Supreme Court from the inception till now, and you have to gain knowledge of all the related sections of other laws also, other related laws also, and the particular topic you're reading about. And, ma'am, in this way I prepared for my mains examination. And apart from that, for Hindi and English, and wherever there is another language apart from Hindi, I just did my answer writing. I read the newspapers and I kept an eye on all the recent developments around me that could come up as an essay in the examination, and I would write my own essays, and then I would cross check if they are under the word limit count and if they would adhere to the recent developments and everything.
Okay, that's great. So a lot of people in the chat, they're asking how many, on an average, how many number of hours did you study, and did you have any rigid schedule to stick by? And also, a lot of students are asking how much answer writing is enough in your opinion.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, I didn't have any rigid kind of a schedule. As I've said earlier, I would confine myself to the number of to the topics that I have to complete this topic by this much time. I didn't have any rigid time slot that I would study for a 5 hour in a day or a 6 hour in a day. Because, ma'am, as I was practicing also, I wouldn't get that much time to study. So I would just keep myself confined to my topics, and ma'am, further for answer writing purposes, I think you should at least take around 7 to 8 mock tests for the mains examination, because mains examination is through and through based on your answer writing skills. So I think you have to be very crisp and very brief about your answers, and very, exhaustive, write a very exhaustive kind of an answer. So, ma'am, I would suggest you have to take at least 8 to 10 mock tests.
Okay, Deepti. Another doubt people are asking in the chat is, did you also practice daily answer writing? A lot of people tell aspirants that you should practice writing answers on a daily basis. So did
Ma'am,
you also stick by?
yes, ma'am. Actually, it depends very much on the time frame that you're getting for preparing for a mains examination. Because, ma'am, in this case, I got only around 1.5 months, so I didn't have much time to prepare. So, firstly, I've got I had gone through all the syllabus, all the subjects that were coming in, and then I started doing my answer writing. So I have kept 20 days for my answer writing practice. And, ma'am, I think if you have the time frame, if you have a bigger time frame to prepare, then you should at least do your answer writing weekly or 2 to 3 times in a week, because answer writing is really the key here.
Okay, Deepti. That's a great advice, and that's some great insights. So, did you also prepare for Hindi language separately? And for those people who do not have a good command on Hindi language, what advice can you give to those to prepare for it?
Ma'am, actually, in Rajasthan, in Hindi language syllabus, it was just three essays were coming. So I myself have a fair command over Hindi. So it was not very difficult for me. I had to just prepare for the essays. And, ma'am, I think for the people who don't have a fair and good command over Hindi language, I think they should take some Hindi lessons also, the basic grammatical lessons also, and they should practice writing Hindi more. Because, ma'am, in my opinion and in my experience, writing English is very much easier than writing Hindi. So they should try writing Hindi more, and they should take Hindi lessons, the grammatical lessons, and then prepare their essays along.
Okay, all right, Chhavi, that's some good advice. And also, did you also prepare for local laws of Rajasthan? And how much time and weightage did you give to them?
Okay, ma'am. So only one local law from the Rajasthan was in the syllabus. It was the Rajasthan Rent Control Act. The act is quite brief, so I don't think it needed much time, much attention from my side. And so I have given about 3 to 4 days for preparing the act in the mains sequence. In the prelim sequence, I did give it a little more time, because you have to learn the section numbers, and there are time frames given in the act. So you have to learn all those things. So I had given around uh, 2 hours of my day for 10 days for the preliminary exams, and for the mains exam I would have given the 4 to 5 days for the Rajasthan Rent Control Act.
Okay, okay. So on the same note, can you also suggest some resources or books which you referred to while making your notes?
Ma'am, first of all, I referred to a lot of books. Like for example, for Code of Civil Procedure, I referred to Takwani, and at some instances, I also referred to the commentaries by Mullah. And for contract, I referred to Avtar Singh, and I had referred to Pollock and Mullah also for contract for some basic points of it on which I thought that I might need a little more information. And for CRPC, I referred to the lectures by Kelkar, and for IPC, I referred to NV Pranjapati. For Constitution, I referred to the commentaries by Mr. H.M. Sirvai, because I really like to read what the sir has written in his books. And apart from these subjects, for specific relief act, I have this book. I don't remember, I am not able to recall the name right now, but it's been written by uh, a sir who's an ADJ in Punjab. So it's a very good book. I will share when I will share it with you in a while after checking it from my shelf. And I think that was it. Apart from that, I kept on seeing the various articles that are posted on the live law. I have I have the premium. I have taken the premium version of the live law, so I have taken an eye over all the recent legal developments, and I had kept on piling up all the recent legal developments that I got to know about a particular topic and kept adding into my notes. And I think that helped me in being very updated about the concepts.
Okay, and can you also mention any resource for studying Rajasthan Rent Control Act?
Ma'am, I don't think I had any other resources rather than the BEAR Act. I just had the BEAR Act to study that particular law. Apart from that, I have seen some free YouTube videos that various educators give out on YouTube, and that also helped. But apart from that, it was mainly just the BEAR Act only. The BEAR Act is sufficient for Rajasthan Rent Control Act, I suppose.
All right. Okay, Chhavi. So, throughout the journey of your preparation, not just before the mains, but throughout your journey, did you attempt mock test to assess your preparation? And
Yes.
if yes, then how often did you attempt mock test?
Yes, ma'am, I did attempt some of the mock tests from the JudiSure also, and from other resources also, because ma'am, I think mock tests really test your preparation, and I think they play a very big part in your preparation, because and until you don't know where you are lagging, you won't be able to prepare in a better and efficient manner. So yes, I did attempt a lot of mock tests for preliminary examination and for the mains examination as well.
Okay, Chhavi. That's about the prelims and main stage. Can you now also share some insights for the interview stage? So in Rajasthan, what kind of questions are being asked in the interview? And do they also ask questions related to Rajasthan local culture and things like that?
Okay, sure, ma'am. Actually, in Rajasthan, the interview is being taken by a board of three honorable judges of the Rajasthan High Court. And ma'am, I was lucky enough that they didn't ask me anything about the Rajasthan local GK or customs or anything. They just confined my interview to the legal developments, recent legal developments, and the legal part only. But I've heard from fellow students other fellow aspirants that they've asked them about the Rajasthan local GK also, and customs also, and the general GK also. And ma'am, in my opinion, to crack an interview, the key really is your confidence. You have to be very confident about your answers. I mean, you should not give out the wrong answer, but you should, if you know that you're right. Because, ma'am, there was a point where I was answering to a question that the honorable judge asked me, but he said that you have quoted the wrong section. But I knew that that section was the right one, so I kept on. Uh, I was adamant that, sir, my answer is correct. I am correct to my knowledge. So he accepted that. Okay, you are right. So I think the confidence is the key here, but you have to be really sure that you are spelling out the right answer. You're giving out the right answer and you are not just blabbering anything. And ma'am, they do ask you the analytical questions also. So you should be prepared about those also, because those questions might be very spontaneous and they require you to act very spontaneously and very in a very quick manner. So you should, I think you should take a number of mock interviews also, because somewhere or we don't know where we are lagging, and our body posture and our body conduct, and our body should also uh, give them the vibe that you are confident enough about your answers, that you are suitable for this post. They did ask me a question that why do I want to become a judge. So I think that was the key point of my interview, because they literally just asked me, why do you want to join the services? So I gave my answer to that, in a very confident manner and in a very crisp manner. And ma'am, to answer all these generalized questions like why do you want to become a judge, why do you want to take judicial services, I think you should not give an answer that is a very straightforward and very common and usual answer. You should just bring something that you think you are going to do while being a judge. And ma'am, that I think, in my opinion, that would make you a distinct candidate from other aspirants. So yes, that was it about the interview part.
Okay, that's a very good advice. So now overall, if you can point to one thing which helped you in your preparation the most, so what would it be? And what would be your advice to those who are targeting the next RJS notification?
Ma'am, I would advise that please don't confine yourself to the barrack only. Have a very good grasp over all the laws that are coming in your syllabus. Just go through once very thoroughly throughout what the subjects are coming in the syllabus and make very concise brief notes of yours only, rather than referring to other people's notes. And ma'am, if I have to point out the one thing that is the most important thing here, I would say it is the consistency in your preparation. I mean, there might be days when you don't feel motivated enough to just get up and prepare, but in all of those days also, you might just keep your discipline intact. And consistency really matters here, because we are in a league, we are in a world, we are in a day that the law is evolving, that the law is changing at a very fast pace. So you have to keep an eye over all the recent judgments and all the legal developments they are that are going around you, because they can also ask you in the preliminary examination the name of some judgment, and in the mains examination straight away to write facts about this or that judgment. So I would I in to conclude, consistency and an eye over all the legal recent developments and your discipline. I think that makes a good recipe for preparation for the judicial services.
Okay, that's a great answer. So also apart from all this, a lot of people are interested to know, was your target only Rajasthan or did you also attempt other states exam?
No, ma'am. My target was not only Rajasthan. I did attempt the Haryana Judicial Services exam and the Delhi Judicial Services exam, and the Punjab Judicial Services exam as well. I learned the Punjabi language because therein Hindi is not in the syllabus. It's the Punjabi language. So, ma'am, I had a very very exhaustive preparation plan. I did a very exhaustive preparation because I was not targeting just the RJS.
Okay, so how different is the preparation strategy for Rajasthan judiciary if we compare the same thing with other states?
Ma'am, actually in Punjab, Haryana and Delhi, they provide you with the copies of the Bare Acts. So the paper is mostly, this is purely my opinion, that the paper is mostly very subjective. And you can refer to the Bare Acts, they are lying in front of you. But in Rajasthan, you won't be given the Bare Act copies. So you have to have a very good grasp over the provisions only, the provisions which are provided in the Bare Act. So you need to have a very good grasp over those only. You have to learn all the ingredients. For example, all the ingredients that are given for a particular section in the code of in the criminal code in IPC, that is BNS right now. You have to have a very good grasp over all the ingredients also, because in my opinion they look at your answer, that if you have written all the ingredients that are required for this particular legal topic or this particular section, like for example if they ask you what is theft, so you have to mention all the essential elements of the theft along with the judgment if you know any, and apart from this is for the Rajasthan, but in Delhi and in Haryana and in Punjab, they give you the, as they give you the Bare Acts, so you need to have a very subjective knowledge of your subjects. You need to have a very thorough knowledge of your subjects, because they can give you very analytical kind of questions, that you need to be able to assess those in the examination, and you need to answer those only on the basis of your knowledge. And you can refer to the barracks for the sections, but you have to have a very good analytical temper also to clear to attempt those questions in the mains examination.
Oh, yeah, right, Chavi. So, on the same note, what would be your advice to those people who are targeting more than one state? As we have discussed, the pattern of every state is different.
Yes, ma'am. So my advice would be to just once go very thoroughly, go very comprehensively and exhaustively with the basic subjects, which are your constitution, CPC, CRPC, evidence, and IPC, because they are pretty much the only subjects coming in all the state examination. And apart from these, the Contract Acts, Specific Relief Act, Hindu law, Muslim law, you should have a very wide and exhaustive knowledge of all these subjects. And thereafter, if you are appearing for any state examination, you can mold your preparation according to the pattern that is going to be as according to the pattern that examination carries. And apart from that, you can prepare for the languages simultaneously, because language do play a very vital role in your exams. So you should prepare for the languages also in a very sound manner.
That's absolutely correct. So, a lot of people in the chat box are asking that they find challenging to revise multiple subjects and to retain all those what they've written, all that what they've written in their notes. So, how did you manage to revise everything?
Okay, ma'am. So that's why I am pressing on the point that make your own notes, because when we make our own notes, we know what we have written, how we have written, from where we have taken this particular part, and we can just look at our notes and we can just highlight one word of the topic and we can revise the whole of the topic from that only. So I would suggest you all to make your own notes and make the notes in such a manner that if you have a single glance over the particular topic, you can revise everything that is written in your notes.
Okay, so the key is to be coherent and to make your concise own notes.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
so okay. That's a good advice. Now, few people are also asking what were the questions that were being asked to you in your interview?
Okay, ma'am. So first question they asked me was, why do you want to become a judge? And thereafter they asked me about PILs and directive principles of state policy. Then that do you think we can ask the court to implement the directive principles of state policy, and if not, then what is the recourse to make the directive principles of state policies uh, a possibility. And then they asked me very basic questions also, like what is the section 4 of Prevention of Offenders Act, where review is provided under the Code of Civil Procedure. What is the effect of misjoinder and non-joinder of parties? And there was a recent judgment from the Rajasthan High Court only about section 406 and 420 of IPC. They asked me about that, and what is adultery, what is marital rape, how do you think marital rape should be repealed? Sorry, marital rape should be added and made a criminal offense in our criminal code. And what is the judgment, what is the case that is going on about marital rape in the Honorable Supreme Court, and what was the judgment through which adultery was repealed. And they asked me an analytical question also, that okay, the under trial prisoners who are under trials and are lodged inside the jails, they're not allowed to vote, they're not entitled to cast a vote. But but the persons who are even convicted of an offense and are out large on bail, they are allowed to cast their vote. So why do you think the legislation has made such a distinction between these two type of uh, prisoners? And ma'am, apart from that, they asked, ma'am, I think it was pretty much, they asked me as much as I can recall. And they asked me about what is federalism. Does India have a federal structure? What are your insights on the point that Supreme Court considers India a federal nation? And yeah, ma'am, these were pretty much all the questions that they asked me in the interview.
Okay, and how long your interview continued? What was the
Uh,
duration?
Ma'am, it was about 15 to 20 minutes. I didn't check exactly the time, but as much as I can recall, it was around 15 to 20 minutes roughly.
Okay, so that's some great insights in your journey of preparation for the also about the strategy of all the stages of your preparation. So I think now we can open the session for discussion, and all the participants here, you all can ask your doubts either in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. I've enabled the unmute option. So whatever questions or whatever doubts you want to ask, please go ahead. Okay, Anuranjan is asking, since you have pursued LLM, did it help in any way to clear your exam?
Actually, LLM was not of much help to clear my examination, but I did it. It actually was not much of a help in clearing my examination, but I think I did LLM because, ma'am, I was also trying to keep a backup option in uh, my professional life, that if this doesn't pan out, I would have another option to explore.
Okay, that makes sense. So LLM was not of much help, in short. Okay. Avnish is asking, did you get help from judicial notes in your 3 stages of examination?
Yes, surely, ma'am. I did get a lot of help from the judicial notes.
Okay. Fatima is asking, did you evaluate your mock test by yourself, or did you go by any mentor for your feedbacks, anything like that?
Yes, ma'am. I evaluated my mock test on my own also, and whenever there's this thing that whenever you attempt any mock test, from whatever institution you take the mock test, they give you a basic generalized answer, and you have to evaluate your answers from that generalized answer. So I did that.
Okay. All right. Any other question, any other doubt? We'll wait for a few more minutes. If anything, please either type it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and directly ask from Chhavi.
Hi, ma'am. First of all, congratulations on qualifying the exam. I just wanted to ask that how did you manage time during writing mains answers, or did you have enough practice that timing was not a problem?
Hello, thanks a lot. And actually, I made myself so acquainted with the writing pattern that writing in the mains exam was not much of a worry, because in Rajasthan, the examination, the law paper examination is for 100 marks, and for 80 marks you get the normal questions, and for 20 marks you have to attempt two judgments. So as we know that judgment writing takes a lot of time, so for that matter, you have to very much prepare yourself to write very efficiently, very briefly, and in a very clean manner beforehand. So yes, practice only can make you write the examination in an efficient manner.
Thank you. Just one more thing, you just mentioned that you also attempted the Delhi Judicial Services exam, right? So do you have any tips on preparing the paper one, the legal and GK part, which is there in that exam? The
Okay,
legal
so
GK part. Yeah.
yeah, so the main part, the main focus point over there should be uh, getting a good grasp and good hold over all the recent legal developments that are going around you, because that paper mainly consists of all the recent legal developments. For example, the last mains exam that was conducted in April, it it had all the topics from only from the recent legal developments, like from the UCC, from electoral bonds, and likewise. And yeah, so I think you should be very through with all the legal recent developments that are going around you.
All right. Also, just a follow-up question on that. How did you consolidate your notes or whatever you used to read regarding legal developments? Because I'm sure you must be working, so sometimes you would read on the go. Or but do you have online notes, or how did you consolidate the topics or judgments that are important?
I would highlight the part, or I would just take a screenshot of that part, and I would just WhatsApp myself on the WhatsApp, and then keep it over there. And thereafter, whenever I get the time, I would note them down and include them in my notes.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Fatima in the chat is asking, does length of the answer matter?
So I know everyone keeps saying that the length of the answer matters, but I would, in my opinion, the length of the answer does not matter, neither in the Delhi one and nor in the Rajasthan one. And for clarifying it, in the Rajasthan exam, you get the question come answer sheet, so there is a required space. You cannot write beyond the space, because there are given a number of lines to just write your answer. So I think that you should write all the necessary details, the case laws, the sections, and I think that is enough. You don't have to write everything, make it a encyclopedia. Your answer should be brief and crisp and to the point.
Okay, that's a very good advice. Also, some people in the chat are asking, did you also solve past year papers? And if yes, then how many?
Yes, solving past year papers is really important, because you know how they keep giving the questions from the previous examinations, and I think you could solve from the last 10 years, 10 years, and that is sufficient, because 10 years is a really long time. Yes.
Okay. All right. Anuranjan is asking, how did you prepare for essays and how did you choose your relevant topic to prepare?
Okay, so the most relevant topics are really the ones that are in the recent current affairs, like UCC, the criminal bills that were enacted So first of all, you have to prepare the recent ones, the recent topics, and apart from that, you can take help of previous year's examinations. And for example, English and Hindi are two languages that are common in Haryana and Rajasthan and UP and Bihar examination. So you could take out all the previous year topics that are coming in all those examinations, and you can prepare your essays. Like you can, for example, you can take a wider topic like PIL, and under PIL they could give a subtopic of the wider term PIL, that they could give like how PILs are helping, like PIL are boon or bane, like judicial review, how judicial review is a boon or is it a bane, and how judicial uh, judicial review, are judges using their power of judicial review a lot. And like that, you can take a wider topic and prepare a very comprehensive and exhaustive essay on that. And from that, if a subtopic comes in the examination, you would be prepared to write that also. And apart from that, yeah, the recent ones that are the recent topics that are going around, you should definitely make essays on them.
Okay. All right. So next, since you've mentioned that in your interview, they asked you why do you want to be a judge? I know it's a very subjective question. Everybody will have a different answer. It's a very subjective thing to ask. But a lot of people in the chat box are interested to know what was your answer to this question.
Okay, so as I said, I tried to distinguish my answer from the basic usual answer that I want to become a judge because I want to administer justice and all. So I just gave a very crisp and brief answer that, oh, this job gives me the socioeconomic security that I'm looking for in my professional life. And further, I always had a keen eye for law. And when I started going to the courts, I I realized what an important function a judicial officer is playing. And I think the all the duties that a judicial officer has and all the functions that a judicial officer plays, I think those all align with my professional goals. So yes, that's why I want to become a judge.
Okay, that's a very unique and very good answer. Okay. So any more questions from the participants? Anyone want to ask anything else? Please go ahead. We can wait for few more minutes. If you have any question, you can either write it in the chat or unmute yourself and directly ask from Chhavi. Samira is asking, is there any way to revise GK and recent developments?
Okay, I think there is no one way to revise that. You just have to note down everything and just look at that once in a while. And you can always refer the newspapers and the legal magazines. Those are also good sources to revise your general and legal GK.
Okay. So I hope that answered your question, Samira. Avnish is asking, since we have repeatedly discussed that you should make concise notes and your notes should be your source of study. So how did you made your own concise notes? What were the, apart from the books you've mentioned, what else did you do to make concise notes? Did it take you multiple versions of notes, and or how did you go about it?
Actually, I would also take the help of Google also. And when I am starting to make a note about any topic, like for example, if I am making any notes about FIR, So I would start with how, first of all, what is the basic provision of FIR and the related sections given under any of the subject about FIR. I would write those also along with the FIR, along with section 154. And apart from that, I would write from the very inception how Supreme Court is dealing with this term FIR, and as it is not been defined in the code, I would write a crisp definition of FIR from any of the legal judgment that the Honorable Supreme Court might have given, and whatever new aspects or whatever new dimensions the court has given to that particular term, and about its relevancy, about its evidentiary value. I would write all of those from the judgments, and then I would just conclude what the term means to me, and I would just write my own insights of the term and of the provision, and that was it. And whenever because in the examination you won't always get a straight question what is FIR, where it's been provided in the code. So you can be given multiple questions about the same topic. So for that matter, I try to include every and each aspect of the term that's been given. And I would also look at the previous papers, and I had this book of means question papers, and in that book the questions of previously conducted means examination of almost all of the states were given. And in that book, like for example, the topic FIR was given, and under that topic all the questions were given. So I would take a look over all the questions, that am I missing something, and if I think that I'm not missing something, then I would make my notes, and that was just about it.
Okay, that's a very good answer. I hope it answered your question. Okay. Now Shruti is asking, how much time exactly did it take you to prepare? So when exactly did you start preparing, and how much time one should prepare?
So it took me about 2 years to crack the examination. I started preparing in the later part of 2021, like around November of 2021. And okay, so I think at least 1 year is required, because as we all know, the college education system, so you have to have a very good grasp over all your legal subjects on your own. And so I think 1 year is the minimum time that you should give for your preparation. You should study all of your subjects very thoroughly and make your own notes.
Okay. All right. I hope, Shruti, that answered your question. So there are no more doubts. I am assuming that nobody else wants to ask anything. Nitesh is raising hand. Yes, Nitesh, you can go ahead. Please unmute and go ahead.
Ma'am, can we use both the blue and black pen in the mains answer writing also?
No, you have to use only the blue ballpoint pen in the means answer writing. And I don't know about other states, but in Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, and Rajasthan, you have to write with only a single pen.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, can I just ask you one question? That recently, if any person wants to manage this preparation with the job of corporate, so is it possible to crack this exam? So recently, I got a placement. I'm a fifth-year student, but I'm still confused. I want to prepare for. I have taken JudiSure also, but I'm still confused that whether to go for judiciary exam, because it's a very extensive preparation, and I'm in dilemma that I'll not be able to manage between the job and the preparation. So how to go about that?
Hello. I think, in my opinion, you have to prepare for once you have to like really sit down and read all the subjects very thoroughly, and it takes time. It really takes time. And once you think you're confident enough about your knowledge and your preparation, I think then you can go opt for a job. That's what I did. And as we all know how corporate setups work, so I think you might be getting a little you know difficulty in preparing alongside your job. So if you want my suggestion, I would suggest you to just really prepare at least for 5 to 6 months for the examination if you are serious enough for the examination. And then you can opt for your job if you think you would get that laxity with your job to prepare, because yeah, it is an extensive preparation and it requires a lot of preparation.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So I think there are no more doubts, no more questions anymore. So I think with this we can close the session. And thank you so much, Chhavi, for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for sharing such great insights and giving such good advice. And thank you for your time. And we wish you all the very best for your future. We believe you're a great addition to Rajasthan Judiciary. And thank you so much. It was amazing to have you here with us.
Ma'am, pleasure is all mine. Thanks a lot.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining the session. We'll also upload the session on YouTube, as some people are saying that they missed few parts due to number of reasons. So you can watch the recorded lecture on YouTube later. And that's pretty much it. I think we can close the session now. Thank you all for joining. Have a good night. Goodbye.